LA just survived the greatest real estate crash in recorded history. I know what you're saying, that sounds crazy, especially if you remember back in 2010-11, but hear me out. We saw the volume of sales in Los Angeles drop about 40% over the last 2 years. And it was a disaster for most real estate agents. Now, how did homeowners fare? Let's talk about that. We have just finished a really important cycle in the real estate world. In the beginning of 2022, the Fed announced that they were going to raise their rates to help combat inflation and to cool down the economy. Well, it worked, but at the cost of the real estate market. Now, that was in early of 2022, and what we saw was rates hit in the 7s within a few months of that. And then 2023, we saw rates hit the 8s. And then at the end of 2023, the Fed announced that they were done and they would not be raising rates going forward. That was enough to knock rates down from almost 8 to the mid-6s where they are today. So I will say the worst is behind us in the residential real estate world. Let's talk about what's happening price-wise and sales-wise around the city. We're starting with the Westside. This is going to be the pricey Tony stuff in Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, Bel Air, Brentwood, and all that ritzy area. The average price last year was $3,333,000, which was actually down 8% from the year before. Now, the number of sales was also down 18% from the year before. But when you look at a 2-year running total, the average price was actually down 1% from those 24 months. And the number of sales down 43% from that, down 43% from 23 to 21. So the West Side did not do as well as other areas that are less expensive throughout the LA area. Let's move inland a little bit to the Hollywood, West Hollywood, Miracle Mile area. Last year in 2023, prices were $2,617,000. That was down 7% from 2022. The number of sales was down 26% in that same year. If you look at a 2-year range, prices were up 2% from 2021 to 2023. The number of sales down 55%, okay? 548 sales 2 years ago to a measly 245 sales in 2023. That's a huge drop. Let's talk about the Hollywood Hills. Average price was $3,446,000. That was down 5% from the year before. The number of sales was down 19% from the year before. If you go in the 2-year range, prices were actually up 2% from 2023 to 2021. It's good news. Now, number of sales down 47%. There were 738 sales in 2021 versus only 394 sales in 2023. Volume down. Let's talk about that huge San Fernando Valley. Okay, we saw a 0% change year over year. We saw $1,156,000 as the average for 2023 and $1,157,000 for 2022. That is a $1,000 difference. That is zero change. However, if you look at the number of sales that sold, that was down 22%, okay? If you bought a house in 2021 and sold it in 2023, it has gone up 9% in that time frame. And the number of sales, down 42%. Yes, 2021 saw 7,900 homes sell in the San Fernando Valley and only 4,500 last year. Let's go down to the South Bay. Average sale price, $1,817,000, unchanged from the year before. Love that. And if you look at the Number of sales down 16% in the South Bay. But let's look at the 2-year. If you bought a house 2 years ago in the South Bay, it actually went up 5% from those 2 years. But the number of sales down 40%. There were 3,200 sales in the South Bay in 2021 and only 1,900 in 2023. Let's look at the southern part of Los Angeles. Average sale price $1,089,000 is actually down 6% year over year. The number of sales down 16% year over year. But when you look at the 2-year average, if you bought a house in South Los Angeles in 2021, it actually went up 4% over that 2-year period. Number of sales were down 30% during that 2-year period. Let's talk about NELA. That is an acronym for Northeast Los Angeles. That's going to include the Silver Lake, Los Feliz, Highland Park, all that hipster stuff. Back in 2023, average sale price was $1,580,000, and that was flat from the year before. The number of sales was down 28% year over year. So let's look at the 2-year numbers for NELA. In 2021, if you bought a house then, by 2023, up 11%, not too shabby. But the volume, wow, down 48%. That's a huge bite. We're talking about 1,500 houses selling in 21 versus 800 houses selling in 2023. Again, volume way down. Let's go to Burbank. Average sale price of Burbank was $1,286,000 last year. That was down 2% from the year before. Number of sales down 23% in that year over year look. If we do a 2-year on that, prices were up 6% if you bought in 2021 and sold in 2023. And the price and the number of homes to sell down 34%, a big bite. Let's hop over to Pasadena. Last year, sales price averaged $1,725,000. That was up 2% from the year before. Number of sales was down 23%. Let's look at a 2-year on that. Prices up 3% from 2021 to 2023. Number of sales down 35% from its 2021 amount of 968 sales in Pasadena. Let's take a look at Glendale. Last year in Glendale, the average sale price was $1,589,000, which was up 5% from 2022. However, the volume was down 24% from 23 to 22. Now, let's look at the 2-year range. Glendale was up 17% from $1,353,000 to that $1,589,000. So that was a really big jump for those 2 years. But the volume, once again, down 47% in those 2 years. That's the number of sales down from 741 sales to 394. So Glendale definitely felt the pinch for homes selling. If you have any questions about what your neighborhood is doing or about what your street or home is doing, give me a call. I am happy to sit down and have a private conversation with you about real estate. Billions of stories where she takes all the glory. Been told so many times that